Our anniversary had always been a quiet affair. No grand parties, no lavish gifts. Just us, a small dinner at home, and the subtle comfort of routines shared over the years. I had planned a simple evening, candles on the table, her favorite wine poured into glasses, and a soft playlist humming in the background. But this year Emily seemed different. There was a distance in her smile, a chill beneath the casual words she spoke as she walked into the dining room. I tried to ignore it at first, telling myself I was overthinking. After all, we had been through many anniversaries together. Small moments of tension came and went. Then she said it, calmly, casually, as if stating a fact about the weather. "You know," she began, swirling her wine, "my next marriage will be better." For a moment the words hung in the air like a cold gust of wind, chilling the room. I froze, not out of shock but to process the weight behind them. I could feel every heartbeat stretching in time, every shadow in the room deepening. I smiled. A small, controlled smile, careful not to betray the thoughts racing in my mind. "Good," I replied softly. My tone was light, neutral, but inside a storm had already begun to form. Emily blinked, expecting perhaps indignation, anger, or even tears. But my response was nothing like that. She leaned back slightly, confused by my composure, by the calm in my eyes. She had anticipated a reaction. A fight, a confrontation, maybe a confession of hurt. Instead she found quiet, unshaken acceptance. I remembered everything. Every subtle betrayal, every tiny lie, every moment I had overlooked or excused. I remembered how easily she had dismissed my feelings over the years, how she had manipulated situations to suit her desires, all while keeping a perfect, pleasant facade. Tonight was no different. The words she had spoken were careless, almost thoughtless, but I knew the intent. I finished setting the table, pouring the wine for both of us. Every movement deliberate, calm, precise. Emily watched, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her face, but she said nothing. I had given her one of the most powerful reactions possible, control taken silently, patience masking the storm, and an understanding that her words would meet consequences, but not yet, not in anger. The night had begun with a simple phrase, a casual remark. But for me it marked the start of a new chapter. One where every action, every word, and every smile would be measured. I had smiled, and in that smile, she didn't realize, lay the beginning of a reckoning she had brought upon herself. As dinner began, Emily tried to maintain her usual casual demeanor. But something had shifted. Her laughter felt lighter, almost forced, and she kept glancing at me, searching for a reaction. She expected anger, perhaps jealousy, but all I gave her was quiet observation, patience wrapped in a calm smile. I noticed the little things immediately. The way she twirled her wine glass, almost nervously, the subtle hesitation in her voice when she commented on trivial matters, the way her eyes darted toward the framed photos of our previous anniversaries on the wall. Each small gesture told a story she wasn't ready to admit: regret, fear, maybe even guilt. Halfway through the meal, I asked a simple question lightly, as if it were casual. "So what makes you think your next marriage will be better?" Emily froze, forked midair. I don't know," she said, her voice slightly shaky. "I just feel like maybe I'll be with someone who understands me better." I nodded slowly, taking a bite of my dinner, masking the surge of thoughts rushing through my mind. That was it. The truth she hadn't spoken outright, but had revealed in her careless words. Her mind had wandered, imagining another life, another partner, while we sat here, celebrating what should have been our day. I smiled again, gently, quietly, letting her words sink in. "Good," I said once more. "I hope you find what you're looking for." Emily's eyes widened. She hadn't expected me to respond this way. She had anticipated confrontation, perhaps tears or a plea, but instead she was met with calm and control, the kind that left her exposed and uncertain. Her confidence faltered, and I saw the first signs of panic flicker across her face. Then I started sharing stories, small, seemingly mundane recollections of our years together. Moments where she had dismissed me, overlooked my efforts, or manipulated situations for her own gain. I recounted them not with anger, but with clarity, like a ledger of our life together. Each story, each memory laid bare the reality she had ignored. By the end of the dinner, Emily was visibly unsettled. The room was filled with quiet tension, the kind that sits heavy, pressing on the chest, impossible to ignore. And in that moment I realized something powerful. The words she had spoken, the casual remark about her next marriage, had ignited a reckoning. She hadn't understood it yet, but she would. After dinner we moved to the living room. I poured 2 more glasses of wine, setting them on the table with deliberate calm. Emily sat on the couch, her posture tight, hands clasped together, eyes flicking toward me as if searching for signs of anger. But there was none. Just a quiet, measured presence, my smile a shield, a statement, and a promise all at once. "Do you really think someone else would understand you better?" I asked softly, keeping my tone neutral, almost casual. Emily hesitated, swallowing hard. I guess so," she admitted, voice barely above a whisper. She hadn't expected to articulate it aloud, and now that she had, the reality hit her differently than she imagined. I leaned back, keeping my expression calm, letting the silence stretch. That silence carried more weight than any argument could. Every second made her reconsider, reflect, feel the tension of consequences she hadn't planned for. And slowly I began recounting moments from our relationship. Times she had dismissed me, ignored my needs, or spoken carelessly. I did it gently, without raising my voice, but with precision. Each memory was a mirror reflecting her own choices, her own disregard, her own failures to appreciate what we had. Emily's lips parted, and for the first time that evening, I saw genuine fear flicker across her face. The fantasy she had imagined, the thrill of wanting something new while still having me, was crumbling. She realized her words, her thoughtless remark about her next marriage, had unleashed a reflection she wasn't ready to face. I smiled again, softly. "I hope your next marriage is everything you imagine," I said. My words were calm, but their weight pressed down like a quiet storm. She didn't respond. She couldn't. She sat there, tense, exposed, forced to confront the consequences of a careless statement, a careless fantasy. By the time the night ended, Emily understood something crucial. Words spoken lightly can have profound effects, and actions, or in my case, controlled patience, can reveal truths far more sharply than confrontation. I had smiled when she said it, yes, but it was not just a smile of acceptance. It was the smile of someone fully aware, fully in control, and fully capable of letting reality do the work I didn't need to do for her. She had thought she was testing boundaries, creating excitement, exploring desires. In truth, she had only illuminated the imbalance in her choices. And I had smiled calmly as the night quietly, irreversibly shifted.